I am a nurse and I belong at the bedside right now, actually. I'm supposed to be at work. But here I am for the 27th time to tell you about the honor and privilege, as well as the heartbreak uh, of serving as a medical mission nurse in Gaza about 10 months ago. As a nurse, I took an oath to stand by those in need. But what I witnessed in Gaza wasn't just a humanitarian crisis, and it wasn't a war, it was genocide. I witnessed the repercussions of 85,000 tons of bombs dropped on a population of 2 million people the size of Washington, D.C. I stood among a sea of hundreds of thousands of homeless civilians. I saw families that were shredded apart and a landscape reduced to rubble. This is all part of a calculated campaign to erase a people. Israel has murdered 250,000 people within a year. I do want to say, as a witness to Gaza's destruction, the most important voices and testimonies should be from the people of Gaza. They should be the ones standing here to speak their truth. But their voices have been silenced through bombs, through blockades, through oppression, through propaganda, through media bans. So now it's become my moral obligation to speak on their behalf as a witness. Today, there are 0 fully functioning hospitals available in Gaza. 0. Every single hospital has been bombed or cut off from supplies or electricity. I treated patients who arrived in relentless waves, many too far gone to save, and it wasn't because we lacked skill or compassion, but it was because of the level of violence combined with Israel's blockade on aid that collapsed the infrastructure of the healthcare system there. Doctors and nurses were forced to make difficult decisions, choosing which lives to save and which to let go, not because they lacked the will, but because the world allows Israel's inhumane blockade and bombardment to continue. Hospitals already under siege were running on fumes. No supplies, no electricity, no medicine, little to no staff, barely even having the space to breathe, let alone bury their dead. Israel has deliberately killed over 1,000 healthcare workers. Some were even raped and tortured to death. This Holocaust is being live streamed in real time online, and the Israeli forces have no shame in boasting about it on TikTok. Yet the world remains silent. Despite the horror and devastation I've witnessed, I've also witnessed an unbreakable resilience and humanity. The people of Gaza held on to their humanity with a strength that humbled me. I worked alongside healthcare heroes who continued to save lives, even after losing their own spouses, children, siblings, parents in a single airstrike. And while grieving their own losses, they continued to show up every day, determined to save one life, even if that meant costing them their own. Exhausted doctors and nurses, also victims of genocide, consistently offered me their last scraps of food in the midst of famine. I've never met a more selfless and generous group of people. But let me be clear, their resilience does not absolve us from taking action. This is not just about Gaza. It's also about the silence that threatens all of us. What is happening in Gaza isn't just a tragedy for Palestinians. It is a threat and a warning to all of us. It is a litmus test. What we allow to happen there gives Israel and any other oppressor encouraged by our silence the green light to carry out similar atrocities elsewhere. I cannot unsee what I saw, and you should not unhear what I'm telling you guys. To my fellow healthcare workers who remain silent in the face of this Holocaust, where's your humanity? How can you turn away while an entire population is denied the right to life? You took the same oath that I took to preserve life and to do no harm. But your silence betrays that oath. Silence in the face of genocide is complicity. The world must not look away as Gaza bleeds. This is not just Gaza's fight, it is the world's fight. The time to act was a year ago. The future will judge us by how we respond to this moment. So be the one to stand up and not stand by. Demand a ceasefire now. Demand justice now, because if we fail Gaza,